Hey everybody, what's going on? What's happening? It is Wednesday. I was going to say Tuesday, but it is Wednesday afternoon, December the 20th. Hard to believe that we are only 5 days away from Christmas. Hard to believe. 4 days away from Christmas Eve. Yeah, that's right. It is Wednesday, December the 20th, 2023, 2:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you were all doing well and that you have got your Christmas shopping done and that you've bought for whoever you needed to buy for. Of course, the International Day of Men's Christmas Shopping isn't until this Sunday, Christmas Eve, of course. We men like to go out at about 2:37 in the afternoon, give ourselves maybe, a couple hours before the stores close. I know that's that's a big stereotype. I'm trying to think if I've ever done that. I think the only time in my life where I may have gone out on Christmas Eve to get something would be not to start any sort of shopping. I mean, I'm smart enough to not start my shopping on Christmas Eve, but I think I've gone out in the past and picked up, I had to run to the grocery store and pick up something for dinner or one last, oh damn, I forgot that thing and we need that for the thing and the thing, so I've gone and done that kind of thing. Or I'm like, oh shit, you know what? I got to quickly run to the dollar store and get something, you know what I mean? Like something like that. I think I've done on Christmas Eve. I think we probably all have at some point, but I do find it funny that there are people out there. And of course the stereotype is that it's men, but it could be anybody who's not organized. Starting their Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve, unless you don't have very many people to buy for. Like if you only have one person to buy for, well, yeah, I guess you probably could, and you kind of know what you're going to get them, or maybe you're just going to get them a gift card or something you know what I mean? Then yeah, that's probably not a big deal, but yeah, to wait and start your Christmas shopping until the very last day is probably not the best thing to do. But it's hard to believe that another year is almost over. 2023 is almost done. And yeah, so anyway, I wanted to jump on here today and do a Q&A, answer your questions, but also talk about the teaser trailer that we dropped yesterday. Very excited about that. And the feedback has been largely positive, which is great. So thankful that so many of you are enjoying the teaser, enjoyed what we put together for it. It is the quintessential teaser trailer. Maybe it's not enough for some people, but if you're older like I am in my mid 40s, you remember a day when teaser trailers were actually teaser trailers and they actually teased. Teaser trailers are not teaser trailers anymore. I mean, they show teaser trailers today coming out of Hollywood, and again, I speak generally, can be like 2.5 minutes long. And it's almost as if the studio considers it a teaser as long as they don't give you really a whole lot into what's going on in the narrative. Well, if you don't know really what the story is, we can show you as much as we want. And it's a teaser. It's almost like teaser trailers are now measured by how much of the narrative we know rather than how much we see. I think that's a bit of a tricky slope because depending on how much you see, if you're, an astute sort of individual, you could probably, regardless of whether the narrative is spilled out for you, you might be able to piece a lot of it together because they showed you so much. So, but I remember a day, as I'm sure many of you do, when teaser trailers were real teasers. They didn't really show you anything. They just, they gave you an essence of what you could expect, either with the tone of the film or the mood of the film or, a character or something like that. That's a teaser. But now, yeah, teasers are a lot more than than what they used to be. So anyway, the teaser trailer for It's Me Billy Chapter 2 is an old school quintessential teaser. And it was designed that way on purpose. Like I said, so far the feedback has been great. So thank you to each and every one of you out there who have watched it. Please continue to share it. Again, if you're part of like a Facebook group page, like a horror page or something like that or whatever, please share it there. I'm not a part of anything, really, at least I don't think. It's not classy of me to suddenly join a bunch of Facebook pages for the sole purpose of, advertising my film that doesn't really look well or look good on me. So it's better that if it comes organically from people who are genuinely excited about it, who are not associated with the project directly and who want to share it. It's very important. Again, we're the little guys on the block. We're not Freddie. We're not Jason. We're not Michael. Those guys can sell themselves. You don't have to do much, and people share it because people are heavily emotionally invested in it. With Black Christmas, it's a different thing, especially it doesn't have a yearly interest, right? Freddie, Jason, and Michael, there's interest in those properties every day, all day, every month, every time of year. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. When it comes to Black Christmas, because it's so heavily embedded into the Christmas season, and it's a Christmas horror movie and a Christmas IP, it really is only this time of year where the interest in that film peaks. And so it's really important. Like, I've noticed that the views on It's Me Billy Chapter 1 are going up, right? Organically, because people are finding it, they're searching it, Black Christmas, they're typing in things like It's Me Billy and, all that kind of stuff, and it's popping up. So it's really this time of year where we really need your help and to spread the word, to share it on your social media. It's free to do. So, it would mean the world to us, because the more people that know about it, the better. So we really appreciate that. We're doing everything we can to share it as well, and using the appropriate hashtags and all that kind of stuff. One thing that really bugs me about Instagram, and I don't know if Twitter is like this, but it really fucking pisses me off about Instagram, is I've noticed that, and like I can intellectualize why they do this. But again, this is where nuance gets completely tossed out the window. And that is Instagram. There's a thing with Instagram where if you post and use the same hashtags too many times in a row, Instagram will shadow ban you. And I don't mean shadow ban your account, but they will, if you click on the hashtag and go to look for your post, it won't be there. Because Instagram sort of, again, it's automatic. Like, these things are built into the algorithms. It just assumes that, oh, you're using the same hashtags, you must be spamming. And it's like, it shouldn't fucking matter. I should be able to post and use the exact same hashtags 50,000 times in a row if I want, and it shouldn't fucking matter as long as the content is relevant to the hashtag. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if I post using the hashtag It's Me Billy or Black Christmas 7,500 times in a row. It shouldn't fucking matter as long as the post is relevant to the hashtag. Right? You know what I'm saying? If I'm posting, I don't know, a picture of a water bottle and I'm hashtagging Harrison Ford, well, yeah, I get it. It's like, this has nothing to do with Harrison Ford. Or if I'm, posting about It's Me Billy and I'm hashtagging, some big, Aquaman or some, big Marvel movie in hopes that people see my posts. Yeah, I get that. That's not right. That's totally, but it shouldn't fucking matter. It shouldn't matter. And it pisses me off. It pisses me off. And so that's one thing, with Instagram that I find incredibly frustrating, because I'm not somebody that likes to post pictures of my feet or my dinner or, I don't know, fucking dumb shit that I don't give a fuck about. I don't care. I'm not that, well, Instagram it does that, so Instagram encourages people to post about their life. This is my life. This is my life. This is my life, making fucking movies and being a voice actor, and that's my life. So, it's incredibly frustrating, when after 3 posts, I'm like, oh God, I guess I better post a picture of my ketchup bottle on #ketchup so the algorithm can reset, and it's like, it's fucking annoying. It's really, it's frustrating. So, sorry, I needed to get on my soapbox there and rant about that, because it's like, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. The litmus test should be, does this image correspond with the hashtag? And if it does, whether it's once or 9 billion times in a row, it should go through because it's relevant. End of discussion. End of discussion. Anyway, that's how I feel about it. So all of you that can help to share and spread that and use those hashtags, it's me Billy too, Black Christmas, all that kind of stuff, that would be greatly appreciated as well. But we're very happy with how the teaser looks and turned out. Again, I will say this, I said it last week, but I will say it again, because I do think it's important. One of the questions I get asked is, do you have to watch It's Me Billy 2 in order to, and it's like, well, no, you don't have to, but keep in mind that It's Me Billy 2 is not, it is the second chapter, but it's the end of our movie. So, it would be like watching Halloween from the moment that, I don't know, Annie gets killed to the very end of the movie. And do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really, you got to watch the whole thing, right? And, chapter 1 was basically the first act, right? The first act and a large portion of the second act, right? Half of the second act, right? It was the setup. And chapter 2 is the rest of the second act and the third act. So yes, you can watch It's Me Billy chapter 2 on its own if you haven't seen, the first chapter or Black Christmas, but it's probably not going to make much sense to you. And then you'll be like, ooh, this is dumb. And it's like, well, no, it's not fucking dumb. You just got to watch the rest of it. Although, but then again, if you watch the rest of it and you still think it's dumb, well, that's fair. That's totally fair. But yeah, so keep that in mind too, right? Like, we are basically finishing the film now. Like, that's the whole point, right? Is that we could now go back and do this. But we're very excited about it. Obviously, chapter 2 is, for those of you that have seen the teaser, it is darker in tone. And there's a shift in tone, because obviously now we're getting into the climax, and Sam and Jess got to figure out how the fuck do they get out of the basement, what's going to happen, and why is Jess in the basement, and why are Billy and Agnes there, and all that kind of stuff is explored and answered in chapter 2. But in typical Bruce and Dave fashion, we also don't like to serve everything to you on a silver platter, right? We like to also, give you those answers that you're looking for, but give them to you in ways that feel earned, through symbolism, all that kind of stuff. Because we like fans to talk about it too. So there's something to discuss afterwards. Like, oh, that's so cool. What do you think about that? I don't know. All that kind of stuff. We like that kind of shit too, right? So, so that's exciting. That was fun to sort of paint that kind of, how do we give the answers people want, but without sort of just going, oh, by the way, here it is, right? We want it to feel organic and everything properly motivated and all that kind of stuff, and still leave some mystery there too, right? So, but we're excited. And very pleased with the feedback. So again, thank you to each and every one of you out there who've watched the teaser, who will continue to watch. I think we're approaching 3,000 views, which is great. I know we can get that up for sure. We just need to share it in places and avenues where people don't know about it. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, because we are the little guy on the block, I can't tell you how many times big Black Christmas fans just this year have been like, I just watched It's Me Billy the other day. I had no idea it existed. It's great. I'm a huge Black Christmas fan, blah, 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 blah. That stuff still exists, right? And so the more we can get it out there, the better. and to keep that momentum going. And I think in the subsequent years, and the fact that next year is the 50th anniversary of the original Black Christmas, that's definitely going to help us as well, right? Because there's going to be a lot of buzz around it and all that kind of stuff. So we're very excited about that. So before I move over to the Q&A and to your questions, and obviously I'd like to talk about it, get your thoughts on it, what you think. If you have any questions about the teaser or about the film or anything like that, this is your opportunity to ask me about it. Don't shy away. This is your opportunity to do it, and I will be forthcoming and honest with you. If it's something I can answer, if it's a spoiler, then I obviously won't be able to do that, but I will do my best in that regard. And but yeah, again, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. You know, it was great to finally be able to release something for everybody to look at, and to see the tone and the direction and the style for which we are moving in. I do want to say this too. I do want to say this because I know that some people have expressed this, and I get it. I understand it. Obviously, Olivia not being in the film is disappointing, and I get that. I totally understand that. But keep in mind, nobody, you're nowhere as disappointed as we were when we had to make that announcement. No fan on the face of the planet right now is, and I can guarantee you that, is more disappointed than we were when we were faced with that challenge. We're the producers, we're the writers, we're the directors, we're the ones that have created the project to make this a reality and to make this opportunity possible. And we were the ones that were dealing with the unions and SAG and the strike and her manager and her husband and all that. And so as disappointing as it is for a fan, it's 10 trillion times more disappointing for us. So please understand, we mean it when we say we understand. We do understand. And it is disappointing. It was extremely disappointing by how it all went down, obviously being so close to shooting, but that's show business. That's the reality. I mean, Olivia is not the first person in show business to have backed out last minute on a project for whatever reason. Sometimes it's contract, sometimes it's health reasons, sometimes, I don't know, there's something an actor does that gets them canceled, or who knows, right? There's a variety of reasons why an actor has to leave a project. Olivia's not the first to have to do it. She won't be the last. So it is unfortunate. And it's unfortunate, obviously, because it's a crowd-funded project. It was built around her being on it. We understand that 100%. We do. But I can assure you that, Lisa Kovac has done a great job. And if I know it's my film, but I will say that I think she looks great in the role. I think I totally believe, looking at her, I totally believe that could be Jess Bradford 50 years later, 100%. And she's done a tremendous job with what we've been able, with what we've given the character. And I think you guys are going to watch the movie, and I think you're going to be fine. Is it disappointing? Well, of course it is. Of course it is. But at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about it. And there was somebody that made a comment that said, you should have packed up your stuff, moved the shoot to Los Angeles and shot there with her and all that kind of stuff. And I say this with all due respect to that individual. I could go off on a rant and get on my soapbox, but let me be a little more diplomatic about it. It's not possible. I don't want to say 9 times out of 10, but there are so many people that just don't know how much it costs to make a movie. And if we wanted to move everything to Los Angeles, it would have cost us, oh God, hundreds of thousands of dollars, because we're moving everything to LA. And then we have to find a house that's there that looks, like it's just, and I say it with all due respect, it's an ignorant comment from somebody that doesn't know anything about what they're talking about. And Olivia didn't back out because she didn't want to fly to Canada. She backed out because of health. And so it wouldn't have mattered. We would have shot in LA. She still wouldn't have been able to do it because of health. I mean, maybe she would have been able to do it, but who knows what her health would have been, right? Because, her physician advised her to not work, not just not travel, but to not work right now. And so, you know, those things, like I respect the passion. I respect the, you know, why don't you just wait? Why don't you just wait? Why don't you just wait? That was another thing, right? Which we expressed explicitly why we couldn't wait. It's important people understand that in order for us to wait for Olivia to get better, there's no guarantees that she's going to get, you know, better, right? She's 72 years old. So there's no guarantees in that. And pushing the production costs thousands of dollars. I think there's and I understand this, I do. I think because we're a fan film, there's still a stigma around our project that, well, it's just a fan film. It's just, you can just move stuff. You can just, you know, you're just working with your friends and it's not a big deal. And as I've said many times, we are fan film in name only because we don't own the intellectual property. This is a fully unionized, professional, independent short film, as the same with Chapter 1. And so, you know, we can't just do those things without, you know, thousands of dollars being spent. We have a professional crew. These aren't our friends, you know, that we can be like, hey, Bob, you know, can we? These are professionals that work in the film industry here in Canada. They've already gone on to shoot other things. Like, I can tell you, I follow our crew on Instagram. They're already on other shoots. I see them posting shit. They're shooting other films, they're shooting TV shows, network series. Like, they're already doing shit. This is what they do. So in order to push our shoot, we got to make sure that everybody's available. We got to make sure that the actors are available. We got to, there's deposits in you know, in all sorts of areas of production that we may not be able to get back, right? Like all these, it would have cost thousands. We would have had to come on here again and been like, hey guys, well, we're trying to raise an extra 50 grand because we have to move the shoot, right? And then we would have been like, oh, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? So this is the reality. When you're making real movies and you're dealing with real actors and professionals and unions and SAG and ACTRA and, you know, all this, this is, you know, this is how it works. And so, you know, it's just, please understand. And again, I'm not speaking to everybody. I'm just speaking to those who may not think, you know, like, oh yeah, I guess this is a bit different. You know, this is the real deal. And so we can't just move things. We can't just say, yes, let's do that without thinking first, how much is that going to cost us? How much is it going to cost us to move this entire shoot? And if we have the money to do it, well, then we explore it. One of the options that we put on the table for Olivia's manager was maybe January. Do you think she'd be ready to go in January? We looked at the costs. It would have cost us quite a few $1,000s to move it, but we were willing to take that hit if there was a guarantee from her manager and her husband that Olivia would be ready to go in January. They couldn't guarantee us that. And they wanted to push it until like next spring or summer. And even then, it wasn't a guarantee. And as producers, Bruce and I looked at this and said, we can't do that. We can't do that and make the 50th anniversary, you know, release date. We can't do that. There's no guarantees that our actors, now we're asking all our actors, hey, Brian, you can't cut your hair. Hey, Brian, you can't shave your face for the next 6 months. Hey, Victoria, I know you wanted to dye your hair. So don't do that. Hey, you know, now you can't. So this, we can't, it's, you know, and then of course the house and the rental of the house and the production houses and the catering and the hotels and it's, if we had millions of dollars, it's not a big deal. If we're a studio-produced movie, studio-produced movies do that all the time, and it's not a big deal. But when you're an indie shoot that is relying on crowdfunding, right, it's way more difficult to do that. And they couldn't even guarantee us that, right? They couldn't even guarantee us that. So we had to make the difficult decision to say that we just can't. We just can't wait. And she understood. There's no ill will. She understood. And as far as I know right now, she's still dealing with those health issues. So, you know, who knows when that's going to be, right? When she's going to be available, if she's going to be available. I mean, folks, it's not an accident that she hasn't done much in 10 years, that she's been retired for 10 years. It's not like Olivia is, you know, this working actor that's working all the time right now. She was going to come out of retirement to essentially do this film. And it would have been the perfect project for her, right? Low key, few days of work, not a big deal. But she has been dealing with some health issues. And so unfortunately we had to make that call. As producers, these are the calls that you have to make. When you're working at this level, sometimes this is what you got to do. And so to move the shoot to her, I mean, Jesus, it would have, it's not practical. It's not practical. So I respect the passion. I do. But 9 times out of 10, when I receive arbitrary comments like that, well, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? Why don't you just do this? I respect the place it's coming from, because I respect you as a fan, and I'm right there with you. And if we had studio money, maybe we would, right? But we don't have studio money. And so we have to be very careful with how we spend your money and where we place it. And we can't just arbitrarily do shit like that. We don't have the budget, So all I ask is that, again, I say, I do understand. But I ask that you put your support behind Lisa. I think she's done a wonderful job. Olivia is supporting her. Her manager said that she supports and that she's there and she supports the project, and that next year when the film is ready to sort of come out, it's the 50th anniversary next year. Maybe there'll be a little something from Olivia about our film. We've already talked to her manager about that. But again, we'll cross that bridge when it comes, because we don't know what's going to happen with the 50th anniversary and all that kind of stuff. Could be crazy shit that's going to happen. All good. Who knows? So all we ask is to put your support behind it, behind her. And we fully believe that this isn't the first time that this has happened. But it's a decision that we had to make. And I think I truly believe that you will all be pleased, with the end result. And as you can see, we did our due diligence to cast somebody, to have somebody as a contingency plan, that looks like the same type of woman, if I could say that. High cheekbones, the same sort of facial structure. That was very important to us, right? We couldn't, we're not going to cast somebody that doesn't look anything like her, right? You want to cast somebody where you go, oh, totally. That helps me believe in that, right? And so we did our due diligence on that as well, and I think she looks great. I think she looks great. I mean, of course, that shot when she, we rise up and we see her on the phone. Would that have been amazing with Olivia? Of course it would have. But unfortunately, these are the breaks. This is the reality of the situation, and it's out of our hands. And so, I think Lisa looks fantastic. Again, I know it's my movie. I think she looks great. I think she sounds great. And there's been a few people that have even reached out to me privately and said, is that Olivia Hussey? So, now if you follow me, it's not, right? But if you didn't know, and you're not, how many of you are actually paying attention to what Olivia Hussey looks like now, right? There's not too many. I have a recent photo of her, but there's not too many recent photos of her, right? She's very shy, very private. If you didn't know and you hadn't followed this, I could see people making that mistake for sure. And that's a good thing. So, but yes, thank you to each and every one of you out there who's watched the teaser, who likes what we're cooking. Again, big shout out to Gregory Bennett, our DP, our gaffer, Nikita, our key grip, Doug Cunningham, our first assistant camera, V, our second assistant camera, Karina, first AD, David, to Zach and to Luke, our grips, to Jeremy, our sound recordist and boom operator. Just to the entire crew, who did such a wonderful job at helping to create the vision that you see here. And we've worked very hard to craft what you see in that teaser, because we wanted to go darker and again, darker within the confines of Black Christmas. This isn't like Hostel or something. It's darker in comparison to the first part. And the first part got kind of dark there towards the end too. But anyway, yeah, again, thank you so much. Before I move over to the chat, I do want to say this though. I released 2 images that were not in the teaser trailer. I released 2 images today, which I will show you across my social media. The first one is of Lynn Griffin, because despite that Olivia Hussey had to leave the project, Lynn Griffin is still in the project. We have to remember that, folks. Lynn Griffin, who was Claire in the original Black Christmas, she's the one that got the bag put on her head, who's sitting in the rocking chair. I mean, that's one of the most iconic images. That image is one of the most iconic images in the history of horror. Period. Whether you're a Black Christmas fan or not, whether you like the original or not, whether you hate my fucking guts or not, it doesn't matter. Objectively, this is one of the most iconic images in all of horror. And that's Lynn Griffin, Canadian actress Lynn Griffin, who was also in Strange Brew, who was in Curtains, the cult horror film Curtains. Anyway, she is back. She is in It's Me, Billy, Chapter 2. She obviously does not play Claire, because that wouldn't make much sense, because Claire is dead. She plays Nancy, Claire's sister. So many years later, she's a former detective who's hell-bent on, finding out who killed my sister. And, she wants it. It's been gnawing at her for years. Anyway, I released a first look image of Lynn. Lynn was also in Thanksgiving. So if you've seen Thanksgiving, Lynn was she had a small role, a cameo, I believe. I haven't seen it yet, but I believe it was in the opening of Thanksgiving at the dinner table or something like that. Whenever the dinner scene is, I believe Lynn is in that scene, because Thanksgiving was shot up here in Port Perry, Ontario. And, actually, when we reached out to Lynn to ask if she could have a Zoom call with us so we could offer her the role, she was actually on the set of Thanksgiving. And apparently her and Eli Roth were talking about Black Christmas. And I think she might have even mentioned It's Me, Billy to him, which is pretty fucking cool. But anyway, so, because we wanted to ask if she could do a Zoom call, I think that afternoon or something. And she's like, oh, I'd love to, but I can't. I'm on the set of Thanksgiving. Can we do it like next Tuesday or whatever? So I was like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah. No problem. Anyways, Lynn is in our film. So that's something to be really excited about. Shout out to Lynn, who's an absolute joy and so much fun to be around. And anyway, so we released that image, and here is your first look at Lynn Griffin as Nancy, the sister of Claire in It's Me, Billy, Chapter 2. There she is. And so we released that, I released that across social media today. And there she is, Lynn Griffin as Claire Lynn Griffin as Nancy, Claire's sister, in It's Me, Billy, Chapter 2. And then the other image we released today was also not in the teaser. This is another first look. This is of the reunion between Sam and Jess. We released this today because obviously at the very end of It's Me, Billy, Chapter 1, we got Sam looking directly into the camera, which of course is supposed to be, her grandmother. And she's like, Grandma. And you cut to black and it's like, oh my God, what's happened? Well, here's your first look at that reunion. And I released this today as well across my social media. So there it is. Sam and Jess reunited, and it feels so good. Again, I just wanted to post two images that did not wind up in the teaser, but still continues to whet the appetite of Black Christmas and It's Me, Billy fans out there who are excited to seeing this conclusion come to fruition. So if you're not following me on social media, you can. My links are in the description. Make sure you do that. And and then you can see those images there as well. So again, thank you to each and every one of you out there who have watched it, shared it, reshared it, giving your feedback and your thoughts. Really appreciate it. So glad that the response has been overwhelmingly positive. And we just think we're very excited to dive into post-production and get it all put together. Now, we do have one day left to shoot on It's Me, Billy Chapter 2, which is happening next month in January. That is with Lynn. And that's happening next month. So it's a day shoot. That's why I haven't said online yet, well, that's a wrap, because technically we are still in production. So that'll happen. I believe we're looking at January 13th. Saturday, January 13th is looking to be the final day of production. So yeah, keep you posted on that as we move along. Okay, so I know there were some super chats that came in, so let me get these super chats. And some member chats did. Josh McKenna sends in $9.99. Thank you, Josh, and says, I love the teaser. I shared it with my friends and they all love it. Wonderful. Thank you, Josh. What's the funnest memory you had on set? The funnest memory I had on set? Well, there was quite a few funny memories. I will say that, there's lots of, like there is in any sort of film set, there's probably lots of things that we cannot share. Wouldn't be appropriate to share, just funny things and things like that. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of fun stuff. I mean, I remember, I'll say that I remember, I'll give you two things. So I remember that on the Tuesday night, I want to say like 6 or 7 p.m., I think. Maybe it was a little later. And then, of course, we weren't coming back to camera until the following day. There was a 24-hour turnaround. And then we start our night shoots on the Wednesday. So a lot of us wanted to stay up, right? Because we weren't going to go to bed. We weren't going to go to bed at like 9 or 10 o'clock, because then we'd be up by like 7, but we don't shoot till like 8 o'clock at night. So a lot of us would stay up until like 3 or 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, then go to bed, sleep till like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And then, like as if you have like a night shift, job, right? So, anyway, that first Tuesday night was a lot of fun. Myself and Victoria and Shelby, for those of you that don't know, Shelby was one of our makeup artists there. And so she was there. So we all sat around the dining room table and, Greg and Bruce, and we all just shot the shit and laughed and, joked around. And, it was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Like they're just so much fun to hang out with. And Victoria and I had some really funny laughs at the wrap party. It was just fun. It's just, that's the real fun stuff. When you have so many laughs with people you really enjoy spending time with and that you care about and that you consider your friends, and because you become a little family, especially when you're on low budget indie shoots. It might be a bit different when you're on like a gigantic Marvel film where, depending on your role on that movie, nobody gives a fuck about you or even knows who you are. But when you're on low budget horror indie shoots, and you're in one location for a week, you're not unit moving. There is that summer camp sort of vibe, and so we've all grown very close, and they're just, I love them all to death. They're just so much fun. So there was a lot of fun behind the scenes in that regard, when the cameras weren't rolling. I'd say my funnest memory, or rolling, I don't know. I don't think I'm far enough removed yet from the shoot, but I would say that I'm noticing a lot about myself as a director, because this is the second real film, right, that I've directed, and I notice that I'm a very hands-on director. And I think that's because I'm also an actor, and I think I tend to get into it with the performer, give them the direction they need for sure. Right. But I tend to be very physical with my directing. And I think that's just because I'm also a performer and theatrical. And so I notice that about myself. It's not just, hey, do this, keep this in mind, go. Some directors might be like that. And depending on the actor, that might work well for them. Every actor is different as well. Some directing styles work great for certain actors. Some directing styles don't work great for certain actors. Like, for example, I won't tell you what because it'll be a spoiler, but there was a scene we were shooting with Victoria as a tracking shot, and I was giving her cues off camera. And then when we shot it once, I went over to her and I said, "Hey, Victoria, can I talk to you for a sec?" Because it just dawned on me. So I asked her, I said, "Do you want me to do that? Or would you rather in your own mind know where the beats are for you to respond to, you know?" And she goes, No, I like when you do that. I like when yeah, please do that. And I said, okay, I just wanted to make sure, because some actors might be like, yeah, I don't need you to do that. I don't need to hear you offset. I'll get in, do that. Some actors may want that. And so I wanted to give Victoria the right of refusal on that, to say, to feel confident to say, hey, I don't think that I have to do that. I just instinctually I was doing that. And then it dawned on me that maybe she doesn't want me to do that. So I went over to her and I said, "Do you want me to?" And she said, no, it's fine. No, it totally, that helps me. I really like that. So I was like, okay. So it really depends, right? It depends on the actor, it depends on the director, it depends on the relationship. I'm still learning to find myself as a director and the kind of director I am. I know I'm a very visual director in terms of mood, atmosphere. I definitely know how to lay a scene down and make it moody and atmospheric, and what's going to work in the world of horror and what fans will respond to and what they won't necessarily. That definitely is I'll say a strength. I don't know if I'll say expertise. I don't know if I've directed enough to say that, but certainly I think that is a strength. And then directing actors, I'm still finding myself, my place on who I am and that. And it's been a fun journey, in that regard. So I would say that just that discovery, continuing to learn and continuing to find my place as who I am as a director, because who Bruce is as a director, there's parallels, right? There's parallels, which is why we work so well together, but there's also differences. We have different styles as well. And he's still finding his style too, right? So it's been interesting. Eddie Chase. Hey, Eddie Chase. Great to see you here. Eddie sends in a very generous super chat of $20. Thank you, Eddie. Says, was it hard, emotionally, mentally challenging after Olivia dropped out? Was the actress you got to replace her always on your radar? Did she audition before and didn't get it, but had her in mind, or did you rush to audition someone? Great question. So it was extremely difficult. I think the thing that made it most difficult was because we are crowdfunded, right? We are fan funded. So we were extremely worried that the fans were going to think that we were lying. Obviously there's certain people that, the vast majority of people aren't going to think that, but you're always going to get your, people that are genuinely skeptical and every right to be. And then you get, your douchebags with the IQ of a turnip, that just don't like me anyway. So it wouldn't matter if I delivered the Shawshank Redemption, they would just hate on it because they hate me. But we were very worried about, the optics of how that was going to look to the fans, because we knew the whole film was built around her being in it. That's what you do. She signed an LOI. Olivia Hussey signed an LOI, and an LOI is letter of intent. And what that LOI states explicitly is you are allowed to use my name, my images, my likeness, my, whatever, for the purposes of raising money for your film. I will agree. I am signing this letter of intent. I will be, if you raise the money and you meet all the requirements that we have agreed to, I will be in your movie. That's what a letter of intent is. So she signed it. I have it. It's in my email box. And so the entire film was built. And this isn't the first time that that's happened. When they were making Halloween, right? Why did they get Donald Pleasance, right? Well, they wanted somebody to help with the exposure and to help with the credibility and financing and, all that kind of stuff, right? It's not the first time that it's very common that an indie shoot will try to get a name attached to a project in hopes of saying, hey, we got Kurt Russell in our movie. it's going to help us raise money. I mean, that's just par for the course. Anybody who's made a movie knows that, right? There wasn't anything, it was pretty standard shit that we were doing. And unfortunately, these things happened. Lynn also signed an LOI, and Lynn's in the movie. So it was extremely difficult because we knew the whole film was based around her involvement. And we were worried that not only if Olivia backs out, which she did, we thought, well, this could mean the whole project is done. This could mean the whole what if, I don't know, 200 people refund $80,000? Well, we can't make the movie. And that's what we were most worried about at that time was, we need to be honest. We need to be upfront. We sent out a press release. We sent it to the actors first and the crew, and then we made it live the next day. All this happened within like 24 hours. Like it was really fast. And so that's what we were most worried about. However, having said that, Lisa Kovac, who's a Canadian actress, she had auditioned for Agnes for It's Me, Billy Chapter 1 3 years ago. And she was great. And it was down to her and Caro, who ended up playing Agnes. Full transparency, I can't remember the specific reason why we went with Caro over Lisa for that role. Lisa was great. I still have her audition for that. She was great. And Caro was too. There must have been something that we agreed on that we just liked better with this or whatever the case is. That happens all the time. So when we were casting, when we were in development, before we launched the Indiegogo campaign, and we were actively pursuing Olivia, we were in contact with her manager. She knew about the project. She was interested. Things were moving. We were actively pursuing it. You guys didn't know that, but we were actively pursuing it. We also knew that it would be in our best interest to have a contingency plan, because the probability that we're going to get Olivia, while not impossible, was lower because she'd been retired for so long. She's older, all that kind of stuff. We don't have, $8 million to throw at her. So we knew that it was lower. We need a contingency plan. So we sent out a casting call to some agencies here in Toronto to audition some women for the role of Jess Bradford. And Lisa was one of the ones who auditioned. And we remembered her from the audition 3 years ago. And we're like, oh, Lisa Kovac. And I said to Bruce, she's got a great look. And her audition was great. I mean, is she Olivia Hussey? Well, no, she's not Olivia Hussey. There's only one Olivia Hussey. It's Olivia Hussey. Like there's only one of everybody, right? There's only one Robert Englund, but she was great. She was good. And we said, if we don't get Olivia, let's offer Lisa the job. And we're like, yeah, we'll do that. Well, we ended up getting Olivia. Olivia signed the LOI. She signed it on the 28th of April, I believe. So 2 days before we launched our campaign. And she signed it. We've got her. Amazing, right? That's the whole purpose of it. We didn't lie to you. We didn't put the cart before the horse. We followed all the rules. That is what an LOI is for. And as soon as that is signed, that is the permission we need to go to all of you and say, it happens all the time. All the time. Unfortunately, Olivia had to back out. So Bruce and I thought, okay, as producers, we're thinking a mile a minute. We're going to camera in 2 weeks. Holy shit, we're on the phone with her manager. I spoke on the phone with Tony Marinozzi, which is her manager, for, I don't know, an hour, maybe more, on 2 separate occasions. And And we knew that, okay, let's reach out to Lisa. We didn't know if she was going to be interested at this point. We didn't know if she was going to be available at this short notice, 2 weeks. But we got to do something. And I was also actively looking at others. And Lisa had a Zoom call with us, and she said, I'm honored. Yes, I'll do it. It's not easy. That's not easy. That's not easy for any actor to step in and replace somebody who, Olivia Hussey, a legend, and also, you know, the weight of the expectation from fans, right? You know, I mean, there's no, you know, Lisa is stepping into the, you know, the second best category. Do you know what I mean? And so that's why I say to you, to everybody out there, to show her some love, to show her appreciation. And obviously I understand you haven't seen the film yet. But I think she looks great. I think she's done a wonderful job. She looked great in that teaser. And I'm so proud of her and everybody on the film, of course, but I'm very proud of her and what she brought to the table with what we had written. Again, it's not a huge role, you know, but I mean, but it's there, and she did a great job, but that ultimately is what we were feeling. I just want to make sure I get Olivia, actress, drop play, and radar, audition her. I think I answered all that. Yeah. So that's the dealio with that. That's the dealio with that. Thankfully, she was available, and we were able to get it done. Thankfully. Josh McKenna, member chat, says, if you were bullied in school, do you have any idea where your bullies are now in life? I was bullied, and I found out my bully has a shitty life and can't keep a job and gets evicted left and right. Well, hey, that's serendipitous, isn't it? I was bullied. Yeah, I was bullied, not so much after I got myself into shape. When I was about 16, I lost some weight. I got myself into shape, had a 6-pack, you know, biceps. I was in great shape. I played hockey as well. So I was an athlete. I ran, all that kind of stuff. In elementary school, yeah, when I was a kid, I was bullied. But it's so funny because I guess I was a chunky kid. But it's funny because I look at photos of me from the 80s as a chunky kid, and I'm like, I'm not that chunky. I'm like, I'm kind of chunky, but I'm like, I'm actually not that chunky. Like, it's kind of weird. It's like, but I guess in comparison to a lot of the other kids at that time in the 80s that were like sticks, you know, I guess I kind of was. But I kind of looked like, I guess I was kind of like, what's his face from Stranger Things? The chunky guy. Do you know, like he's chunky, but he's not fat. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. But I guess if you're hanging out with everybody that looks like Will from Stranger Things, yeah, I guess you are kind of the, you know what I mean? So yeah, I was bullied as a kid. As a teenager, not so much, because I could kick the crap out of everybody. But and I have no idea where they are. I really don't know. Not a clue. I couldn't care less. I hope they're all right. You know, kids are cruel, man. Daniel Hyrell sends in $4.99. Thank you, Daniel. Says, damn it, Dave, it sucks around here when you're gone. Glad you are back and everything went well with the movie. Looking forward to new vids and God bless. Well, thank you, Daniel. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I've just been busy, you know, taking some time off and working hard on the film, and there's still lots to do. So, you know, it's the holidays as well and all that kind of stuff. So, I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. And then Cody Snyder says, gifted 5 Dave McRae memberships. Wow. Thank you, Cody. That was really nice of you. Awesome. Who were they? I can see, right? Who they were? Let me just see. I want to see who they were. That was really nice of you, Cody. Here we go. So Chris Parks, Nathaniel Fincher, IMB Media. That's funny. Morgan Phelps and Hollow Wolf, I think is how you say that. Amazing. Thank you, Cody. Really appreciate that, dude. That was very, very nice of you. Thank you. Shout out to Cody Snyder, one of our amazing moderators. Incredible. Simon Mills sends in a member chat and says, "Hey Dave, you seem somber and a bit down. Hope that shoot wasn't too bad for you. Love the teaser. Reminds me of T2. One show you enough to get you excited. Reminds me of T2. Oh, the teaser for T2. That's cool. One show you enough to get you excited. Well done. Yeah, I've just been, there's just lots going on and the movie and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just, kind of just taking it easy and relaxing. Thank you, Simon. Where Nomad has gone before sends in $6. Says, great teaser. Just wanted to know when you be getting addresses for the Blu-ray shipping. My previous postal service went out of business. Well, you can update that on the Indiegogo campaign. So we're not shipping the Blu-rays. I mean, obviously we can't ship any Blu-rays until the movie is done. So shipping of Blu-rays won't happen until late 2024, early 2025. And that's because what are we going to ship if the movie's not done, right? So I believe you can go on to the Indiegogo campaign and update your address. And I encourage anybody to do that so we ship to the right address when the time comes. And then Mark Strano sends in a member chat. He's been a member for 4 months. Says, congratulations on It's Me, Billy 2 and your continued success. Happy holidays. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Happy holidays to you as well. Let me see if I can get here now, because it's kind of dark on the other screen when I got to switch over. All right. And then Davey Deathray. What's going on, Davey Deathray? Davey Deathray did a great teaser reaction. And by the way, if you have a YouTube channel, feel free to do a trailer reaction. I mean, I know it's kind of, you've probably already seen the teaser now. So, don't fake it though. Like, don't, if you've seen it, you've seen it, but feel free to help talk about it and promote it or do a second reaction on your channel if you want, if you have a YouTube channel. Thank you, Davey. Yeah, for doing that. I really appreciate that. You're very film savvy. And so there was a lot of things that you said in that response that, or in that review that I appreciate and that you picked up on, which was great. Davey says, the important thing is that the story is first and foremost when it comes to Bruce and Dave. Having Olivia would have been great, but her not being there doesn't lessen the effort of the rest of the team. And that is true. It's unfortunate. Yeah, no, you're bang on. Look, as a fan myself, I do understand. I totally get it. I do. I do. It's disappointing. It is. But I mean it when I say nobody's as disappointed as us. Like, there isn't anybody. There isn't anybody, because you're not doing the work. You didn't lay the groundwork for this to even be a reality. When I say you, I just mean the collective you, just, people out there. We worked, you really have no idea how hard Bruce and I worked to make this a reality. Getting somebody, see, you have to keep in mind, Olivia is retired and she has health problems. So, it's not like she's working actively now. And do you know what I mean? So there were a lot of things, and she suffers from agoraphobia. That's not a private thing. She's written about that in her book. It's been out there since. She's always had that. And agoraphobia is essentially, it's more than just a fear of public spaces. It's anxiety when you have to board a plane or all that kind of stuff. So there were certain stipulations that her manager and her husband needed to have in place with us as producers on the film. These needed to be here. They would not compromise because of her condition. And we met every single one without fail, without question. Her manager even said to us on various occasions that you guys have done an amazing job. Hey, Veda, you guys have done an amazing job and have gone above and beyond what anybody else has done for her recently with projects that have been taken to her. We met everything. This is how hard we worked, folks. It wasn't cheap. And so we worked our asses off. And the money that was going to go towards Olivia, whether it be her salary, her flight for her husband and her, because it wasn't just her that was going to be on the flight, it was going to be her husband, which made sense. Her husband is like her, caregiver, her assistant, right? all the money that was going to go towards her was reinvested back into the film. So we were able to give the crew a bit of a raise. We were able to give everybody their own hotel room because, you know, sometimes you can't do that. You got to have everybody sharing rooms, but we were able to do that. We were able to reinvest in more equipment for the shoot to help, you know, with the production value and all that kind of stuff. So it didn't go to waste, and it didn't go to, you know, into our pockets. So it was reinvested back into the project. And so, but Davey's right. Like it was disappointing, but at the end of the day, you know, nothing else changed. Like literally nothing else changed. The story, what we're shooting, the crew, nothing changed, just the actor. But I do understand, like I do get, because there was so much excitement around it, and she's so private, and it would have been huge. It would have been huge. But, you know, maybe this was a test. I mean, you know, if you want to make movies at a professional level, which is what this is, you know, again, when I say professional, there's Hollywood, there's studio films, right? But there's professional indie. I mean, you know, I just mean making professional films. These are the avenues and the roads that you're going to face. You know, you're going to face things like this. You're going to face disappointment with an actor either turning you down or stepping away. You're going to face things, you know, with actors that are difficult to work with. And I'm not saying she's like that. I'm just giving examples of the many things that you face when you know, make films and you deal with real professionals. You know, we're going to face actors that are drama queens, or, you know, I don't know what the male equivalent would be, but, you know, there's going to be actors that are douchebags to work with, and you got to grind your teeth through it. There's going to be crew members that are pains in the ass. By the way, nobody on our crew was a pain in the ass. Let me just say that our crew is amazing. But I'm just saying, right? When you make larger and bigger films, you're always going to meet somebody who's a fucking dick, and you just got to get through it. I mean, you know, making movies is really difficult. And there's a lot of turning wheels. There's a lot of departments and a lot of it's a miracle that movies get made at all, really. It truly is a team effort. And so going through this, you know, the upside to it is what an incredible experience to be working with two unions, you know, having a Hollywood legend on board, you know, all these things. I mean, yes, she had to back out. But you know, it's unfortunate, but I think this experience will make us better producers. I think this experience will make us stronger producers and filmmakers, to take those experiences to the next level, to a new film, you know, to a feature film where maybe we do have $5 million to play with. And now, you know, we have a larger crew and more turning wheels and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, the whole thing has been a wonderful experience. There's been disappointments, to Davey's point, but you know, at the end of the day, we have a movie to make, and we know there's going to be people that their excitement is not there anymore, or they don't care about seeing it, and that's fine. That's fine. People are entitled to not care. People are entitled to not watch if they don't want to. They will. They're going to watch. All those fucking people that say, I'm not going to watch them. You're going to fucking shut up and sit down. You're going to watch, and you know you will. You're going to watch so you can be like, this is dumb. That's why. But anyway, but we're very proud of everybody, and we're very proud mostly of how we handled it. I think we handled it exceptionally well, and we did what we needed to do to move the project forward, as producers. We did what we needed to do as producers. We didn't fall apart. We didn't freeze. We didn't just go, and everything just fell apart. We did what we needed to do as producers, and we pushed forward, and we're delivering a film. And so I'm very proud of that. Josh McKenna, another $9.99. Thank you, Josh. And says, there's a different situation. This is a different situation, but speaking of actors exiting a film, did you hear about the Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega situation with Scream? I did. And I don't really have a lot to say on it because I haven't dove into it. My mind recently has just all been about Billy. But I catch news on the peripheral, and I did hear about it. And you know, I mean, the reality is that I'll just say this because again, I don't know the details of it. But the reality, and whether you like it or not, it is the reality. Whether you agree with it or not, it is the reality. Melissa Barrera had every right to express her opinion, every right. And Spyglass had every right to fire her from the film. That is what free speech is, right? And so, well, not really, there's more to it. But now I'm not saying that it's right to do that, because then where does it end, right? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that under the laws in the United States, nobody was wrong in doing either or. Now, you can look at like, okay, why would you do that? It's just an opinion. Or, hey, there's got to be a middle ground here. Like, these are two extremes. Like, that's an extreme thing to do, right? There's definitely a conversation to be had there. And I'm not saying I agree with what Spyglass did. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, well, they have a right to do it. Like, you can't come into my chat room and just say whatever the fuck you want, and then I hide you from the channel, and then you're like, oh, free speech. It's like, well, no, you're on my fucking channel. Get the fuck out. Just like you can't come into my house and say whatever the fuck you want. Go to your house and say whatever the fuck you want, right? When you're a public figure and you work in entertainment, and I have to be careful like this as well. I mean, I'm not on a stature of Melissa Barrera, but as a professional voice actor, and as somebody who's worked in the entertainment business for 22 years, and as somebody who's really trying to make a go now as a filmmaker, these are things that even I have to think about. I have buyers and clients, high profile buyers and clients, and I'm on 3 shows right now, in animation. And so there's a lot of things that, when you are a public figure, so to speak, there are things you have to be careful of. I'm not saying, again, there's a lot of nuance in there, that can be discussed and fleshed out and worked on. But these are things that's why, do you remember, if you follow me for any length of time, a few years ago, I said there's a war on nuance, and I got laughed at it. Not by everybody, but people were like, oh, dang it. No, to get rid of nuance and context and intent is the detriment of communication on social media. Nuance doesn't matter anymore. Intent doesn't matter anymore. And again, when I say that, I don't mean that we can use these things as an excuse to say whatever you want. I'm just saying that, without without sort of, any kind of backlash. But the amount of nuance that is missed, and that people don't take into consideration because we are a black and white society, no pun intended, that's a whole other thing. It is disappointing. So, Spyglass had every right to do what they did. Melissa Barrera had every right to express what she did, and she's standing her ground, and good for her. Whether she'll be back, I don't know. I have no idea. And Jenna Ortega, as far as I know, she didn't leave Scream because of the Barrera thing. I think she, who knows, maybe she did, but I heard it was because she had a scheduling conflict and she was not going to be in Scream 7 anyway or whatever. I don't know. I'm not too much up on it like you guys are because I've been out of the game for a little bit. Okay, just want to make sure I get all the super chats before I go back. Calvonics Music, what's going on, buddy? Sends in $5, says, would you put Black Christmas above all Halloween sequels? I don't know. I have a real big affinity for Halloween 2. I don't know, but I would definitely say that I like Black Christmas far more than I like most of the Halloween sequels. All of them, maybe apart from 2. 4 is, fun. Halloween 4 is fun, but Black Christmas is a different kind of movie, right? But I would definitely say that, yeah, I would watch Black Christmas over 5, 6, H2O, Resurrection, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, 18 Kills and Ends any day of the week. For sure. Member Chad from Mendel Goodman, thank you, Mendel, says, hey, Dave, glad to hear that everything is going well with IMB. Are you planning on keeping all your vids in this room, or will you eventually move back? I think I'll be in here for the foreseeable future. I just wanted to change things up a bit. I'm just in basically the living room of my basement, essentially. The room where I used to be is literally just like 10 steps over there. It's not like I'm in like this completely new world. To you, it looks like a new world because you don't have the geography of the space, but literally I could just walk 10 steps over there and I'm back in the other room. But I just wanted to change. So, yeah, I think this is kind of cool. And there's another camera angle I have too, which I don't know how often I'll end up using, but there's that camera as well. It's not much different, but I'm so used to having this angle that I think I'll probably end up just keeping it like this. But anyway. And then Brandon Collins sends in a member chat. I keep getting the green ones confused with the super chats. Thank you, Brandon. Says, great teaser. You and Bruce have a great visual sense. I love the lighting and color scheme. Plus the mood is perfect. Can't wait to see this. Thank you, Brandon. Really appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, like every movie you make, right? And you know this, there's the movie you write, the movie you visualize and you write. There's the movie that you shoot, and then there's the movie that you release. You know what I mean? So, obviously this was a far more intense shoot, right? It's a union project, and having your first AD on board was a whole new experience, but a great experience, challenging one, but great. David's fantastic. And so there were certain things that, certain shots that we had visualized that we had to consolidate for time and all that kind of stuff. And, without sacrificing on the creative vision, of course, but, so there was a little bit of that, but overall, we got what we wanted, and, we hope everybody enjoys it. We're very visual. When Bruce and I write, we basically write like we're watching the movie. And I'm sure this is very common. And I don't consider myself a writer. Like, I'm not here saying that I want to write and direct my, movies, it's cool when you are the writer, because then you have full creative control, in that sense. But I don't class myself, I wouldn't say that I'm a great writer or anything like that. I think I'm a better visual director, I think, that I am a writer. However, having said that, for the purposes of It's Me, Billy, I think, it's fine. And we do have a treatment as well for, another, I guess I am kind of a bit of a writer, because I do have all these other projects I want to do that I've written. But anyway, but I don't consider myself like a writer. There are like real, like writers, that's all they do. And they're fantastic. But anyway, I digress. But I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, no, we worked very hard to implement our vision, and obviously the director or the directors work very closely with the DP and his team, which is the gaffer, and we worked very hard to craft those shots. That shot that you see in the teaser, with Billy at the head of the table and we're pushing in, that was something that I wanted very early on, because I wanted to mirror the shot of Sam at the head of the table in the first part when she's talking about her grandmother, right? We're pushing in across the head of the table, or across the table, Sam is at the head of the table. And that was something that I wanted to emulate in chapter 2 with Billy. Because when you look at the symbolism, the symbolism of that, there's a lot of layers there. I mean, Sam was at the head of the table. Well, the head of the table is usually for the head of the household, right? Those are old stereotypes, but that's where, you know what I mean? The head of the table, usually the man, sits at the head of the household, usually the man, right, sits at the head of the table. You know what I mean? He's the head, he's the king, right? And so Sam, being the lead, and being the granddaughter of Jess Bradford, right, she's at the head of the table, right? And we're pushing in, and she's telling the story. And now shit's hit the fan, right? And who's at the head of the table? Billy. Billy's at the head of the table. He's in charge now. And that's not just a cool shot. There's layers around that, right? There's meaning behind that. He's, now Sam is locked in the basement with her grandmother. And so it's like he's fully in charge now. He's at the head. He's in control, right? There he is at the head of the table where Sam once sat, being in control. And now she's no longer in control. And Billy has taken over that spot. Right? There's a lot of layers there, and we're pushing in the same way we did that. So it's not just a cool shot with cool lighting. There's meaning to it. There's layers to it. And that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of storytellers that Bruce and I are. So, everything has purpose. Everything's properly motivated. It's not just a cool shot. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be just a cool shot, sure. But in a lot of cases, Bruce and I really think about our shots, and we think about the visuals that we're presenting. You know, is this just a cool shot, or does this have real meaning behind it? And sometimes the audience will pick up on it, and sometimes the audience won't, right? But I appreciate you saying that. Thank you, Brandon. Okay, did I get all? Oh, wait, Matthew Farisi. Hey, Matthew, what's going on? Sends in $1.99. Teaser looked phenomenal. IMDb 2 will be amazing. Well, I hope so. You know, you never know, right? I mean, you're always going to get people that are going to be like, oh, that was crap. Well, that was great. That's just the reality of putting your art out into the world. Again, all I say is for people to keep in mind that It's Me, Billy 2 is not its own self-contained movie. It's the ending of the first chapter, right? I think It's Me, Billy chapter 1, although it ends on a cliffhanger and Sam's arc feels incomplete and things kind of feel left undone because it was designed that way. I think It's Me, Billy chapter 1 could work better as a standalone than I think chapter 2 can. Chapter 2 is very much the continuation. Like it's a very, I mean, I guess time will tell, but knowing what we've shot and how it's going to play out, I think both chapter 1 and 2 will work terrific as a 1-2 punch for sure. Just chapter 2 on its own. I mean, maybe you might want to watch chapter 2 on its own just because there's something in it that you want to revisit again, which is really cool all on its own. That's fine. But my advice is, you know, if you haven't seen The Black Christmas, if you haven't seen It's Me, Billy, watch those two and then watch chapter 2. If you have seen those two, watch Black Christmas, watch chapter 1 again, and then watch that, because then it's going to feel better, right? Because it's designed that way, right? It's designed to be, you know, linked, right? So, yeah. It's not like we fast forward like 4 years into the future and it's a completely new story, you know, or something like that, right? Like this is linked, right? So, okay, did I get all the super chats? I think I did. I just want to make sure that I did. Let me get some non-ones here. See what people are saying. I'm very curious. Tommy G76 says, congratulations, Dave, on an amazing teaser trailer. Thank you. I know you, Bruce, and the whole crew worked really hard on the film, and from what I can tell, you guys are going to knock this movie out of the park. Thank you, Tommy G76. I really appreciate that. We hope so. It's tough. Like it's a real, it's just been an amazing. It's been an amazing experience, and I find myself, I really hope one day that Bruce and I get to do this for a living, to make money, you know, to make a movie we can make money from, you know, to have a budget of like, I don't know, even $2 million, you know, would be really cool, you know, to make a feature. And I mean, I obviously, not so much Bruce, I obviously am very much a horror guy, and I would be very happy and content if I had $2 million to make a bunch of low budget horror movies my whole life. That would be a life I would be very happy with. Bruce likes horror, but he's got some films that are much grander in scope, that are not horror. I guess they could be horror. They're more science fiction. He's got this sci-fi one, which is just awesome. I wouldn't say that Bruce would want to live in the world of horror his whole life. I would, which is really cool. And depending on how big our company gets, I mean, we don't always have to make movies. Like, we don't always have to write and direct movies together. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, there might be a project that he's really passionate about, that is more his thing. And then I come on as a producer. You know, but he's the writer and the director of it and the producer, but I come on as like a producer or an executive, you know, producer and help to spearhead it. And there's other people on board as well, you know, what have you, but it's more his baby and his thing. And then there might be something that's like that for me, where this is a project that I want to direct for sure. I want to direct it solo. But Bruce is like, absolutely, man, I'm there with you. I'll come on I'm there as a producer because it's our production company, right? You know what I mean? So there could be a lot of things like that happen too. And then there's a project that we're like equally invested in together and we do it together. But that's only going to happen if our production company grows and if there's somebody out there that's willing to give us an opportunity to make that a reality. Chapter 1 opened, a door for us for sure. That door is still open. Hopefully chapter 2 will continue to massage that. And who knows, maybe there'll be a couple other doors that open. I do understand it's a fan film, and I do understand that, people often look at fan films as well. It's not your own stuff. And, I push back on that a little bit in the sense of, yes, we don't own the intellectual property and it's not our own creation, like, something like a Terrifier is for Damien Leone. But what Bruce and I have done and what we've created has never been done before. There's never been a sequel to Black Christmas ever. There's been 2 remakes. So although we are playing in the Black Christmas sandbox, what we have created here with chapter 1 and 2 is completely original. It's not like we're doing our own version of Halloween 18 or our own version of Halloween 2 or like, it has nothing to do with that. This is completely original through and through. And hopefully, the stigma of fan film can be put aside by the right person or the right people and look at it like chapter 1 was, to see the quality that we're producing, the level we're willing and ready to work at. Hopefully we're able to have an opportunity. Now that doesn't mean that we're going to get, $50 million to play with, but who knows? Maybe somebody out there, is willing to be like, these guys are good. They've done really well. I mean, if they're able to do this with this, what could they do with a $5 million budget, right? What could they do with a $2.5 million budget? Who knows? And a larger crew, so they don't have to wear, 10 different hats at once, right? Who knows, right? Who knows? And so that's the dream, right? The dream of any indie filmmaker who's progressing in this area for the very first time is to have that opportunity. And that's all you can ask for is the opportunity, right? And so we'll see what happens, but I hope it does. Let me see here. Chester Franklin Jr. says, Dave, I really enjoyed the teaser for IMDb 2. Love the cinematography. Also, sorry to ask, who did the voice on the phone? Happy holidays. That was me. I did the voice on the phone. I got tagged in a tweet late last night. I was up late because I was working on a bunch of stuff, and somebody tagged me in a tweet. There was somebody, I guess there was somebody on YouTube that was making fun of me and saying that I sounded more like Freddy Krueger than I did Billy. And that I got to go back and look at that tweet, and that I must be stuck in Freddy zone because I was recently Freddy, and what are my thoughts on that? I don't know why I was tagged in this. I don't know who this person is and why I was tagged in it so late, but I was up late and I was here at the computer. So I just quickly responded. I will say this, I'll say, yes, it's me on the phone. And I will say that it's important. And somebody also made a comment on the teaser about that as well. That sounds more like Freddy than it does Billy. Well, let me just say this. It's important to keep in mind that Billy has a vast range in his voice, and a deep baritone, scary voice is heard in the original Black Christmas from 1974. But if you've only seen that movie, or if you've never seen that film, or if you've only seen that movie once or twice, you probably have forgotten about that. The voice I'm doing on the phone in the teaser is not Freddy. The Freddy voice is very different. I think what ends up happening is that these are probably people that don't like me, so they're looking for anything to nitpick. And when they hear the voice on the phone, they think, oh, well, there's a deep voice that kind of has a Freddy vibe. and Dave just did Freddy in Dylan's New Nightmare, and I don't like Dave, so I'm just going to rip this apart, you know, and hone in on this as some sort of like epic failure or something. Billy has the highest of highs. He's got the highest of highs. He's got the lowest of lows. He can go down there. It's in the original film. He's got in between. There's moments where he sounds like a woman, right? Billy, you know, all that it's everywhere. And if you knew Black Christmas and you know the character of Billy, you would know that. So, you know, me doing, you know, some sort of like, it's not Freddy at all. What I did for Freddy is completely different. A completely different vocal placement, a completely different voice. But again, I think this likely comes from people that don't like me. So they have to look at something in the teaser to hone in on, to be able to use as why it sucks and why they don't like it. This is sociology, psychology 101. And people are free to do that, right? I mean, you know, they're free to do that. But I will say that it won't be the first time that somebody who's willfully ignorant chooses to speak about something they know fuck all about. So, you know, it is what it is. It's not Freddy Krueger. It's Billy, and Billy has a wide Rolodex of pitches and voices that he does. And I did that voice in the original It's Me, Billy, and nobody bitched and moaned then. But it's also because Dylan's New Nightmare had not come out yet either, right? So I think what ends up happening, is that I think there's an association with me as Freddy doing a deep voice. It's just a deep voice, right? So there's that association. And then they go, well, it sounds like Freddy. And it's like, well, it doesn't really sound like Freddy at all. And if you did truly know the Billy character, if you actually knew the Billy character and what he's capable of and the range that he portrays in the original Black Christmas from 1974, then you would know that the voice I did at the end of the teaser trailer is 100% consistent with what Billy is capable of doing. And what Billy is not only capable of doing, but has done in the past. And so it's just moot to me. It's just people being angry it's manufactured outrage. You know, there's just a lot of people online that just like to get online and bitch and moan about other people. And they're free to do that. They're free to do that. It takes up a lot of energy to do that, but they are free to do that. So that's what I'm assuming was happening was happening here. But yeah, hey, you know what? You can't please everybody, and you can't get online expecting everybody to like you. There's going to be people that like you. There's going to be people that don't like you. And that's just the way it is. And there's going to be people that talk about you behind your back. And there's going to be people that, you know, get online and start, you know, bitching and moaning. And, you know, that's just the reality. It's nothing I haven't seen before. It's nothing I'm not used to. I grew up in a media family. There's not a fucking thing that guy or anybody else can say that, you know, is going to offend me or make me feel bad or whatever the case is. I just don't care. You know, they're free to think what they want. The reason why I responded to that tweet that I was tagged in was because, again, it was factually incorrect information. I tend to respond when something is incorrect, like factually incorrect. And that is factually incorrect. You know, that Billy does not just have one, you know, voice. He's got a range of voices. That's what makes it so creepy and eerie. That is that the same person? How can that be the same person, right? That's what makes it so eerie. So anyway, I digress. But yes, that was me. And at the end, but I did not say, I know who you are. No, that was Lisa Kovac. That was Lisa Kovac. Let me see. Power Packers 90 sends in a member chat and says, just want to congratulate you all on making the movie and an awesome teaser. I'm glad it's the first thing I ever backed before. Well, thank you, Power Packers. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Magic Marker member chat says, whether live or as a playback, your videos are always a welcome addition to my week. Thank you for all you do. And I'm telling everyone about It's Me, Billy holiday season. Well, thank you, Magic Marker. And I love that name. Put the magic out there, man. I really appreciate that. Any horror groups you can share an image, Feel free to share an image from the post that I make, or whatever, right? Man, we need the help, all the help that we can get. So I really appreciate that. And then Matthew Farisi, I think I got that one right. Teaser trailer looked phenomenal. There was another member, Chad. It was Rob Kitzmiller. Hey, what's going on, buddy? Says, is it true that Alex Jones shows up to talk about conspiracies of the Belmont murders and tap water? Yes. Yeah, that's right. Alex Jones shows up. Fucking. Yes, he does. He shows up. He's in the last 8 minutes of the movie. Actually, the last 8 minutes of the movie is just a monologue from Alex Jones talking about the conspiracies of the Belmont murders. It's just a shot of him in his studio ripping into it. Yeah. That's the last 8 minutes of the movie. Actually, be honest with you, it's the whole movie, apart from the opening. Can you imagine? That'd be wild. Calvonics Music sends in $10 and says, I'm a huge hat collector. How many hats do you have? I actually was in a store recently and saw the exact Daffy Duck that you have had. Had to pick it up. Oh, amazing. That's really cool. That's awesome that it was in a store. What store was it? Because I actually had to order this from... what's the name? The name of the place is called, I just got an email from them because I'm on their email list. Cap Hunters or something? Anyway, hang on. Maybe it's maybe I deleted it. Yeah, Cap Hunters. And it's a U.S. business. So when I order from them, it's always so, it's expensive. Like this hat Canadian was like $60 with shipping and everything. It's very expensive. I'd rather not pay that, but I'd like to order more from them. But if there's a place in Canada, because you're in Canada, right? You're in Vancouver though. You're out in BC, I think. But anyway, if I could walk into a store and buy it, I could probably get it for cheaper. Although maybe not, because it is kind of a specialty thing. But yeah, I'd like to get another one. There's a few more I'd like to get. That's really cool. That's really cool. Danny Strode's talking to somebody. I thought he was talking to me, but he's talking to somebody else. Let me see. I'm trying to find some people I haven't read yet. Just another horror fan. I have said that the voice sounds like Freddy, but not making fun or don't like you, just goosebumps when I hear it and it was creepy. Well, again, I think I understand what people mean when they say that, right? And that's your true experience, right? I understand what people mean when they say that. But I think the association comes from Dylan's New Nightmare. You see, remember, I did that voice many times in the first It's Me, Billy, and nobody was saying that. Right. And that's because I just came off of Dylan's New Nightmare where I do a deep voice. But if you listen to the voice I do as Freddy and you listen to the voice on the phone, as a voice actor, I can tell you they are different and they're different vocal placements. And that voice that you hear me doing on the phone at the end of the teaser is a voice that Billy does in the original film. I mean, again, obviously we sound a bit different because we're two different people, but I mean, in terms of the deepness and the gravelly and, what he does. So, I understand why people make that association, but I think it's people hear deep voice. They know that I was just Freddy. So they go, oh, Freddy, you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's not totally accurate. But I can intellectualize and understand why they do that. But the real thing comes down to, which is what I was tagged in that post, which is all about how Billy doesn't, do that kind of voice, which is not true. So if you're going to make fun of me, I mean, at least get your fucking facts straight, right? You're going to look like an idiot. And this is where the willful ignorance comes in. I think a lot of people, or a lot of times, I think people will be blinded by their hatred or their disdain for somebody, right? You know what I mean? Whether it's me or whether it's some other content creator on YouTube, there are smaller channels that will tend to jump on and they love the drama, right? And they love any opportunity they can have to be able to create drama and talk about other people on YouTube they don't like. But the problem, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing we can do about that. That's freedom, right? The problem with that is that if you're going to do that, then you have to make sure that the information you're making fun of is at least correct. Now, you can say something like, well, I didn't like that voice because I think it sounded like Freddy. That's fair. you're allowed to say that, right? That's your experience. But to go one step further and say Billy doesn't do that, now that's actually incorrect. That's factually incorrect. So now you're wrong, right? So I didn't just do that voice because I'm stuck in Freddy zone. I'm not stuck in Freddy zone. As a professional voice actor of 22 years, I can tell you I don't get stuck in any voice. But I can tell you that I take this very seriously, and understanding the character of Billy and what he does in his range was very important to me. That's why in the first movie, there were so many compliments on my portrayal of Billy on the phone, and it was so eerie and creepy and it sounded just like the original. Well, yeah, that's not by accident. That's studying it, knowing the character, learning what works, what doesn't, where the inflections lie, where the beats got to go, what information has to be relayed. That's all like that. And the same was, with this. So, and so I understand if somebody's like, oh, it kind of sounds like Dave's Freddy voice. If you listen to my Freddy voice and you go back to that, it's very different vocal placements. But if that's somebody's true experience and they're like, well, no, that's totally fair. But the second you say, you shouldn't have done that because Billy doesn't sound like that. Well, no, now you're wrong and you don't know your ass from your elbow. And you're probably somebody that has only watched the original once or hasn't watched it in 30 years because that is factually not true. So I had to speak up and say something. And if it wasn't 1:30 in the morning when I saw it, I probably would have just skipped over it. But I was working and I saw this and I'm like, oh, that's not true. So I don't know who tagged me. I'll have to go back and look, but it was it was on Twitter. You can probably go back and check it if you follow me on Twitter. Let me see here. Super chat from Magic Marker. Thanks, buddy. It says, what is a movie you knew nothing about before watching it, but ended up absolutely loving? How about a movie where the trailer hooked you? Well, the one I always go to, because it's of recent, is The Ritual. The 2018 movie, that foreign film where those guys go backpacking through the woods, fucking amazing. It's one of my favorite horror movies of the last, ever. It was a movie that I never saw a trailer for. I was really late to the party on. I was scrolling Netflix. This is over a year ago. I was scrolling Netflix for something to watch, and I just read the blurb. I saw, The Ritual and saw, the thumbnail or whatever. And I just read the blurb. And Netflix blurbs are usually dog shit. They're just, it wasn't this, but it might as well been 4 friends go into the woods backpacking because of trauma. Something just like, it doesn't tell me anything. But when it auto-played a bit of the trailer, I was like, oh, I really like the mood of this. So I can't remember if I watched the whole trailer or not. I probably didn't. And I just started watching it and I loved it. I said this before. I'll say it again. That's every single creative decision I would have done like that, that's a movie that I would have if I was tasked with directing The Ritual, you would have got the same product. And I know that, some people might be like, oh, Dave, there he is. He's putting himself on a pedestal. No, I'm talking about the creative decisions. The creative decisions that were made is what I'm talking about. Is that I would have made the same choices. I absolutely, maybe there's a couple that I might have done a bit differently. I don't know. I got to watch it again, but I just loved it. I loved the symbolism. I loved the nuance, the eeriness, the mood, the atmosphere, the slow, just everything about that. I'm like, I really like the way that they're doing this. And so that's a movie that I can say. I'd have to think a bit more on some others, but that one always pops into my head because it was so like, whoa, I've been sleeping on this movie for so long. Hey, Lee the Machine Bauer sends in a member chat. Thank you, Lee. And says, Dave, my man, the teaser trailer looks amazing. I drank chocolate milk in honor of you, my friend. My birthday is this Saturday. Cheers to you and Bruce. The movie's going to be amazing. Thank you, Lee. Really appreciate you saying that. And I'm glad that you had some chocolate milk to tide you over. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Evil Monsterism sends in a member chat and says, "Hey Dave, I'm so glad how well IMDb production is going. Are there any specific culturally significant movies everyone seems to love that you don't like? For me, I never really liked Pulp Fiction." Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I'm not crazy on Pulp Fiction either. Culture, that's a really good one. There definitely are. There definitely are. I'm just trying to think of what they could be. I don't know. I'd have to think. Maybe the Lord of the Rings films. I never could quite get into them. I'm not a big Middle-earth sword and sandals kind of guy. That's why Braveheart, I'm kind of like, eh. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great movie, but I haven't watched Braveheart in probably almost 30 years. I mean, it came out in 95. So I'm not a big sword and sandal, like Gladiator. It's good, but I probably haven't watched it since it came out. I don't know. There's something about sword and sandal, Middle Earth type of movies that I'm not quite this, you know what I mean? I've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones. Couldn't care less. That's not me saying that I think it's shit. That's just me saying, because I'm not already into those kinds of shows and that kind of time period, I don't have a natural interest to make time and effort into watching it. You know, it's like how some people are not into horror. I mean, not everybody here, obviously, but some people aren't into sci-fi or aren't into, whatever, right? Yeah, I'll say that probably, but yeah. Let me just go over here. Did I get all the super chats, folks? I just want to make sure that I did. Calvonics. Yep. Was that the last one? Oh no. Yep. Magic marker. Got that. Okay. Just want to make sure. Appreciate it. I'm just going to scroll back for a second here because I want to see if I miss any questions about the teaser. Pete Shipway says, "Hey Dave, love the teaser trailer. I'm impressed with Lisa Kovacs so far. I can't wait to see more of her as Jess." Thank you, Pete. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I think everybody's gonna, again, you're always gonna have, you're always gonna have that. But I think overall, I'm very proud of how we handled everything, and I think you're really gonna like her in the role. Yeah, for sure. Let me see. Lucas the Killer says, "I'm so very excited for It's Me, Billy Chapter 2. I love the first chapter so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate that." Danny Strode says, "Considering the movie is coming out basically a year from now, this really should have been shot next year, like in the summer." I disagree with you, Danny. I don't understand your logic for that. That just tells me that you're just upset that you have to wait. You know what I mean? Like that just, there's logistical reasons why we shot this year. And with chapter 1, we shot in November and we didn't release it till May. So this year we're releasing it, on the 50th anniversary of the original film, which is very exciting. The original film was released first in Canada on Friday, October 11th, 1974. There's some people that are still confused why we're releasing it in October. And I love this too. I love this. This is my favorite, is when somebody is a dick. I'm not saying you're a dick, Danny, at all. I'm speaking now about, just people in general. I love how, people are like, why October? It's fucking lame, bro. Because, we've gotten a lot of that too, right? October, just in time for Halloween, I see. And then I come in and politely say, well, actually, the reason why we're releasing it on October the 11th is because the original film from 1974 was released on Friday, October 11th in 1974. So we thought it would be very serendipitous and poetic to release our film on Friday, October 11th, 2024, 50 years to the exact date. That's really cool, don't you think? And you never hear a fucking peep out of them again. They don't have the balls or the maturity to be like, oh, I didn't realize that. That's so cool. My apologies. Now I get it. No, because we're dealing with fucking douchebags who, you know what I'm saying? And then you come in, you go, well, actually, it's because of this. They don't say a fucking word. No, don't say a word, because they don't have the maturity or possess the IQ to actually be able to say, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, I get it. Fucking morons, man, I'm telling you. At least own up to it. At least own up to it. Like, oh, okay. Like what, you think we just made that date arbitrarily? Oh, let's just release it let's release it at Halloween. No, it's the 50th anniversary next year. Nothing is arbitrary. I know there are people that don't like me that like to nitpick and look for things to make fun of, but guys, come on, you're failing here. Come on. You can do better than that. You can do better than that. You can do better than that. Sit on the toilet, crunch one out really, really hard. You'll feel better. You'll feel better. And that's not directed at you, Danny. That's not directed at you. No, Danny, again, the reason why we didn't was because we were ready to go to production now. And that's when people were available. And that's when the house was available. And that's when the actors were available. And that's when the crew was available. And so, that's when we did it. And we released it. We didn't have to release anything. We didn't have to release anything for, a look, but we wanted to because it's Christmas time. And we thought, let's release a teaser trailer because that's what we did last time. And there you go. It's your first look. I mean, it's not unprecedented. I mean, Hollywood does that all the time. They'll release a teaser trailer sometimes a year before a movie comes out. Ours is 10 months. So, but don't you worry, Danny. Don't you worry. It I'm sure it will go by very fast. Let me see. Bum, 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 bum. Let me see. Going back here. Michael Thorne says, Danny, if you want winter vibes, you have to shoot in the winter. That's true. Brandon Collins. Yeah, it's not winter all the time up here in Canada. Brandon Collins sends in $5. Thank you, Brandon. Says, will you edit the 2 chapters ahead of time into a feature for a later release? You're going to have lots of post-production time on this. We might. It depends. I mean, obviously the main focus now is on chapter 2 and putting that together. And our goal, obviously, we don't know what the next year is going to bring in terms of the 50th anniversary and who's going to reach out to us. I can already tell you that I've already spoken to people that have been involved in one way or another in the original film, that have discovered our film and reached out to us. I know that Roy Moore, who was the writer on the original Black Christmas, he's since passed away, but his brother reached out to me about a year or so ago, and we had some really nice conversations about, Black Christmas and what I can't tell you what he's doing right now, but his brother is involved in something really cool that I should reach out to him. Actually, I haven't talked to him in a while and see how that's going. But it's those kinds of things, right? That people reach out to you and it's like, oh, wow, which is really cool. So who knows what next year is going to bring in terms of the 50th anniversary. I mean, maybe we'll end up releasing the feature on the 11th anyway, right? I mean, who knows? That's not the plan right now. The plan is to release chapter 2 on its own. So it's 2 separate parts, and then release like a Billy cut later. That's the goal. And there's logistic reasons for that. But you never know what's going to happen, right? Who knows what this next year will bring, but, will I have time to edit it into a feature, the 2 together? Maybe, because what I would do is I would get like the timeline. We edit in DaVinci Resolve. So the timeline for chapter 1 is already there. Nothing's changed. It's already, it's there. I still have it. I would then import the timeline of chapter 2. Although I don't know. I'd have to speak to Greg, because obviously project files with different settings, different color grading, color correction. I'd have to figure out how to work that. I'd have to work with him to figure out how to get the two projects together in one timeline. But anyway, that's neither here nor there at the moment. But that's something that maybe it depends how quickly we're finished. If we're finished editing by, like May or June, then maybe over the summer we could do something like that. I'm not entirely sure. We do have a lot of time for post, which is nice. For sure. Okay, I'll go about another 10 minutes. And then I will call it a day. That'll take us to 2 hours, which is pretty good. Well, Danny, if you don't like waiting, I couldn't care less. I could not care less. And I say this, Danny, with all due respect. Don't be a dick, okay? Don't be a dick, okay? Be nice now, all right? You having to wait is not, we don't make decisions around people having to wait, right? It needed to look aesthetically like the first chapter, so we decided to shoot in November like we did before, okay? We release a teaser trailer to whet the appetite for people. We're in constant communication. I don't know if you're one of our backers. If you're not one of our backers at all, well, then I really don't care. But if you are, thank you for backing the film. Really appreciate it. And I sincerely mean that. I do. I sincerely mean that. But please understand that we do not make decisions around what you or anybody else wants in terms of when the movie should be released. We as producers have to make that based on the logistics of the production, the crew, the cast, our story, and what makes the best sense for the film and the story we're telling. So you having to wait a bit longer, everybody has to wait a bit longer. It's not just you. We didn't do this to upset people or piss people off. It was done because we needed to shoot at the same time of year, because it's a film that picks up immediately where the first one left off. Hey, it's the way it is. It's the way it is. So, but I assure you the time will go by fast, and October 2024 will roll around and you'll be like, yay, here it is. So there you go. A Billy cut? Ooh, I'm excited. Well, that would just be basically taking the two films and, butting them together, essentially. And then the end credits of that would be one gigantic end credits, because there will be so many people in there. But yeah. No, Danny, it's not going to happen, buddy. It's not going to happen. We're not going to rush to post-production or rush our post-production to release the movie in the winter. It's not going to happen. So sit tight, relax, go crunch one out, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine, Danny. Amadusius sends in $2, says, love the teaser, Dave. Happy to see you back. Thank you, Amadusius. Appreciate that very, very much. Evil Alex says, it's not like Dave makes money with the film and needs to release it as soon as possible. That's true. It's a passion project, and the best date is next year for the anniversary. That's right. That's exactly it. We don't make any money off of this. We make fuck all off of this. So because we can't, as the producers, Bruce and I are not allowed to make money legally. We can raise money to make the movie, but we can't make money from the movie. And that's why I say that this will be the last fan film that I do. It won't be the last movie I do. It won't be the last film I do, but it will be the last fan film I do. I'm not interested in being a fan filmmaker. I'm interested in being a filmmaker. And that's part of the reason why we chose to make It's Me, Billy Chapter 1 and 2 as professional films, so they can stand above and beyond what the average fan film is or looks like. That's why Vincent DeSanti did that as well. That's why Cecil Laird did that. We chose to move in this direction and make real films so that they can, at the very least, they have the stigma because the name is attached to it, but at the very least can at least make people go, okay. These guys, they're not in their backyards with their iPhones and their buddies and their ex-wives. I mean, this is legit. So yeah, but and with that, obviously we can't make any money from it. You know, the cast gets paid, the crew gets paid, of course. You know, the vendors get paid. You guys donate. We give you your t-shirts and your hats and your hoodies and your Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff. But Bruce and I, you know, when we do our taxes for our business, we declare a loss. You know, we have to do that. We can't declare that we've made money from it. Now, if the rights holders were to come forward and say, hey, this is amazing. This is really cool. Love what you guys have done here. Let's all work together and jump on board and make this from unofficial to official. And then at that point, would there be an opportunity for Bruce and I maybe to make a little something from it? Yeah, who knows? But that would only happen, you know, if the rights holders were to want to work with us to make that happen. But as of right now, it's a not-for-profit film, and it has to remain that way. So this is a labor of love, and we are working our asses. It is a true labor of love. There is nothing we make nothing. I don't mean nothing how some people say it, but they really make a little something, and they only mean nothing because it's not that much. No, I literally mean zero. Like literally zero. Not how some people use the word literally, like, oh my God, my head literally exploded. Like, no, it didn't, or you'd be dead. No, I mean the actual definition of the term literally. Bruce and I literally make zero, 100%, because we legally can't. So when we file our taxes for Dark Chapter Pictures, we have to show legally a loss of zero. Now, hopefully that won't be the case forever. And when we start to make original projects that Dark Chapter Pictures produces, we can actually, you know, make money, right? And we can get on board with a, you know, our production company joins forces with a studio or, you know, whatever, and we're working together and we can make money together, and yay, we're making movies, making money, yay. You know what I mean? And that's the goal, but you can't do that in the fan film world. So I know there's lots of people like, oh, Dave, do Halloween, do this. Like, guys, I have no interest in producing real movies at this level again, and working as hard as we have without getting paid. You know, we did this because we wanted to finish the story and we wanted to, you know, continue to show what we can do. But once that's done with chapter 1 and 2, and that's put together, and look what these guys can do, you know, with a few $100,000, what could they do with a few million? Who knows, right? So yeah. But you're right. It's a labor of love, Evil Alex. It is. It's a labor of love. A true labor of love. When you work as hard as Bruce and I have for as long as we have on something like this, and you literally see nothing, you're either crazy as fuck or you really love making movies. It's one of the two. And I think it's because we really love making movies. Because I find I'm my most happy on set for sure. Brandon Collins says, are you allowed to pay yourself scale as a member of the crew? No, because we are producers. So legally, I don't know what the laws are like in the US, but legally, when it comes to fan films and sort of what's it called? It's the copyright thing. Anyway, its name's escaping me. The term that's often used in that, it'll come to me. Anyway, to answer your question, no, we are not allowed. We have an entertainment lawyer on the project. And I first met this entertainment lawyer years ago, like 15, 16 years ago. I had a meeting with him because I was asking him about a screenplay I was writing and about character names. And I had a good meeting with him, and I always remembered him. He was a really, really nice guy. And when Bruce and I, when our project went from non-union to union, and with all the stipulations involved and SAG and ACTRA and Olivia, we knew we needed an entertainment lawyer. So it's me, Billy Chet. So we have an entertainment lawyer on this project, and we knew we needed that because it was bigger scale. And so we've already talked to him all about this and all the sort of, the rules and the regulations around fan films and not for profit and how much can you raise? You can do this, but you can't do that. You can do this, but you can't do that. That kind of thing, right? Fair use. That's the word I was looking for. Fair use. So It's Me Billy Chapter 2 falls under fair use here in Canada. But the producers can't make money from the project. We can raise money to make the movie, but we can't make money from it. It has to remain fully 100% not for profit. And so we as the producers, obviously can't make money from it. So it is what it is. But it's a true labor of love. And one day we will. One day we will. One day we will. Yeah, Danny, goodbye. Thank you for doing that, Cody. Danny, don't be a dick. Don't tell anybody to shut up. Don't be a dick. Danny's probably a regular troll, because it's very rare at this stage that I'll get new trolls. Usually what trolls do, because they have the IQ of a turnip, is they will make 50 different accounts, right? They'll make 50 different accounts. They think they're being savvy and cool, right? And they'll make 50 different accounts. And then when you block them or you hide them from the channel, they'll just go log in their other account and they'll log on and be like, hey, what's going on? And then they'll behave for a little bit. But because they have the IQ of a turnip and they're trolls and they don't know their ass from their elbow, what ends up happening is their true colors end up showing, right? So because they just can't contain themselves because they're dicks and they're I was going to say another word that wouldn't be politically correct, but you know what I'm talking about. They're douchebags, let's say. And so, Danny, we gave you a chance. If my moderators, you're telling people to shut up in the chat, it's not welcome here, dude. It's not welcome here. Don't be a dick. Just don't be a dick. You're free to express yourself. I support, debate. I support discussion, healthy discussion. But the second you chime into the character attacks and things like that, you're gone. You're gone. I don't have time for that fucking shit. I don't have time. This is fucking the internet and it's YouTube. And it's like, this is supposed to be fun. Nah. I don't have time for that fucking shit. No time for that shit. So if you're going to come on my channel and be a dick, my moderators have all the permission in the world. The second they see something that is like, shut up, fuck you, you're gone. 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 I don't fucking care. I really don't care. Well, Dave, you're just I don't care. I'm 44 years old. I don't fucking care. I don't care. And one day you'll get to an age where you don't give a fuck either. And that's the great thing about life. I don't care. All right. Thank you, Cody, for rocking it. Appreciate it. All right. Let's end on a positive note, shall we? Let's end on a positive note. Evil Alex says, will you work with Bruce on future project again or split up and direct films and adapt your ideas yourself? Hope to all the gods, Dark Chapter Pictures will be a big thing. I love you guys and your directing. Thank you. Yeah, well, I just was talking about that actually. Maybe you weren't in the room, but if we can actually move on and because we can't make fan films forever because our business will fail. Every year at tax time when we go to file our taxes, our business, will be like, well, you keep losing money every year. What the fuck is this business doing? And the government needs to see a profit at some point, right? So, but like I said, Bruce has his projects. I have my projects that I'm passionate about. We have our projects together that we're passionate about. So I could absolutely see a scenario where Bruce, with a project he's really into, I come on as a producer. I'm just helping to produce his project, but he's the director, he's the writer, he's spearheading it. Or maybe he's not even the writer. Maybe he gets somebody else to write it. I don't know. But he's the director. He wants to spearhead that, right? And then there's a project that I'm passionate about that Bruce is like, dude, this is your stuff. I'll come on as a producer. I'll help produce it. I want to be there with you, help bring this fucking baby to life. But you direct that. That's you, right? And then there'll be projects that we direct together, right? And so But to answer your question, yes, absolutely. I think if we can start moving into original projects and get Dark Chapter Pictures really going, and it's a real company, folks. Like, it's not just something like, 79 Films where I just, it wasn't a real company. It was just a sort of an online moniker that a name that I released my online films under. Dark Chapter Pictures is an incorporated real business. We got to file taxes. So we have to, this year we're going to show a loss, and that's okay because it's our first year and it's a fan film. But moving forward, we need to move into making real films where we can show that we've made money. We don't have to show that we've made boatloads of money, because chances are first starting out, we won't, but we have to show that we are making, that we have a distribution deal. Our film's on Amazon and it's not making a lot of money, but it's making a little bit of money. And, we can, all that kind of, we have to show, we can't show, 5 years of nothing. Nothing. No, we just don't do anything, because then they're going to be like, well, why? Why? Do you want to continue to do this? You know what I mean? So, yeah, so that's how I feel. Oh, wait, hang on a sec. Amadusius. Oh, I see. Okay. I didn't know what that was. Hang on a sec. What's going on here? There we go. Amadusius sends in a member chat. Thank you. Says, Dave, at age 4 or 5, I talked with a guy who really hated you and took 10 minutes to explain why he hates you. You really live rent-free in people's heads, man. That is amazing. That is amazing. Oh, I know. There's so many people but see, what it comes down to is people just don't, it's not listen, I don't want to get on my soapbox about this because I've talked about this before, but just know that if you don't like me, I could not care less. I don't lose sleep over it. I don't worry about it. I don't care about it. You're free to hate me and not like me. It's the way it is. You can't jump online and do this kind of thing expecting, first of all, everybody to like you, wanting everybody to like you, and when not everybody does, bitch and moan about it. You just got to come up here and be me. What people don't like about me is, it's not that they don't like me, because they don't know me. They don't know all the wonderful qualities that I might possess, all the wonderful things I might do for people, right? All the wonderful things I might do for them in their lives if they were in my life, right? They don't know about any of that. And fair enough, all they see is me. They see that I'm passionate, that I come on here and I give strong opinions and I'm confident in my opinions. And they misinterpret that as being egotistical, pretentious, condescending, whatever it is. And it's like, no, I'm just confident in what I believe in. I'm not saying that my opinions are better than yours. I'm not saying that your opinion is wrong unless it's a factually incorrect opinion that can be quantified, like actually factually incorrect. It's an object, like it's measurable. Like, the sky is blue. No, it's black. No, you're a fucking idiot. It's blue. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but if it's just art, like you like that movie and I don't, and I like this movie and you don't, me giving tough opinions, and this is one of the big things that people have to understand. This is one of the big things. There's not a lot of people. I wish there were more people watching this, because this is one of the biggest truths that people out there need to fucking understand. You need to understand this. Me saying I don't like a movie or giving a strong opinion on a movie that I don't like is not me saying all those people who do like that movie are pieces of shit. That's not what I'm saying. That's unless somebody online says, I hate this movie, Halloween 5 is dog shit, makes fun of it, oh, Halloween 5, lame, blah, 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 and then says, oh, and by the way, anybody who likes Halloween 5 is a piece of crap. Well, yeah, then okay, right? But one of the biggest problems with being online is that people see and hear strong opinions and they take it personally. They take it I don't know you. I have no idea who the fuck you are. I don't know you. I'm not saying you're a piece of crap for liking something I don't like. I'm just telling you what I like how you talk with your friends saying that you think something's a piece of crap. And that's one of the biggest things. And they get their knickers in a twist because they think that I'm somehow telling them that they are less of a fan or a person or a piece of crap because I happen to have a strong opinion on something they really love. And that's one of the biggest things I wish people would understand. Now, you're still free to not like me. You're still free to, you just don't like my personality or whatever the case is. That's perfectly fine. But I have a suspicion that at least part of the reason is this phenomena that happens with online, the online sphere, and it's not just with me, is that when you see somebody who's got a strong personality like I have, who is confident in what they believe, right? Is confident in what they like and don't like and isn't afraid to express it to you. And when I say you, I mean whoever you are out there. That can be a turnoff for some people because it comes across as overbearing, or it might come across to some people as pretentious. But I think there's a lot of people where it doesn't come across that way because because they're secure in their love for something and they understand, well, this is a guy that's just talking about how much he hates something I love. He doesn't know me. He's not making fun of me. He doesn't know me. Not once on this channel have I ever said in any way, shape, or form that everybody who likes Halloween 5 is a piece of crap and they're not a true Halloween fan and they don't know Halloween like I do. I've never said that. Have I? Never. I've never said that. Why? Because it's not true. It's not true. If you love Halloween 5 and you think it's the best Halloween movie ever made, you're a Halloween fan. You're just as much a Halloween fan as I am. We're just different Halloween fans that like different things. That's it. So again, there may be many other reasons to hate me. Maybe. But I have a stinking suspicion? Is that what it is? I have a suspicion that part of the reason why there are so many people that get their knickers in a twist when watching me is because they can't differentiate and they can't separate, those two things, because they take it so fucking personally. It's like, I don't know you. I guarantee you that those people that really hate my guts, if we actually sat in a room and had a couple beers, we'd probably get along really well. We'd shoot the shit, talk about what we love, what we don't like. That's usually how it goes. And it's because they don't know you. It's not that they hate you. It's just they don't like a certain part of the way you are, right? Or how you come across to them. What they think they know you. They think they know you and they don't. They don't. And listen, some people feel very inferior about that. They feel uncomfortable watching somebody who is so set, so confident in how they feel about something that it makes them feel uncomfortable, right? And then there's people that watch me that totally get me, that love watching me. And like, yeah, I totally get it because they understand all that. And they know that I'm not a dick when I say Halloween 5 is a fucking piece of shit. They laugh. There's people that love Halloween 5 that laugh. Listen, I'm a big Avatar fan, right? I'm a huge Avatar fan. Huge. I love Avatar. That's not a popular thing to say, right? And there's people out there that I watch like, Avatar is a piece of shit, man. It's fucking shit. And I'm like, I love it. I don't think they're talking to me. I'm not mad at them. Well, you're a fucking piece of shit. What? Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. But that is funny. I really hope people out there begin to understand and this goes for me, this goes for every single content creator you watch, whether it's, I don't know, like in our space, whether it's the Slaughtered Lamb guys, Drum Dums, Cody Leach, the Wham guys, Wolfman's Got Nards, whoever. Unless you actually hear us say, oh, by the way, anybody who likes this movie is a piece of dog shit. Like, okay, like yeah. Then I would be like, well, that's kind of, but I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, I've never said that. So, yes, I do live rent-free in a lot of people's heads, and it's unfortunate, really. But I look at my father, and my father lived rent-free in a lot of people's heads too. So I guess like father, like son. Wait, it is. Brandon Collins says, blame Canada with all the hockey, hoobaloo, and that bitch Anne Murray. So stereotypical. You know, that's so funny. It's like me saying, blame the U.S. with all that damn Uncle Sam and Bruce Springsteen and football. That's what that's like. Yeah, I love Dave despite his love for Avatar. That's really big for me. I love Avatar. What can I say? I love Avatar. Bob Birkin says, I hate Avatar 2 so bad. I really liked Avatar 2. And you see, we make it work. And Bob's welcome here, and he still tunes in. That's the joy of it. That's the joy of it, right? That's the joy, folks. That's the joy. Oh, yeah. Pete Shipway's like, you're not a true fan of this franchise if you actually like. That's something too, right? I mean, these are usually, I don't want to put myself into or paint myself into a corner, but yes, that is true. You know, you're not a true fan unless this. That is usually said from somebody who feels uncomfortable. They feel uncomfortable in their fandom, and they need to surround themselves in a groupthink confirmation bias sort of, group. It makes them feel uncomfortable. Listen, a true fan is somebody who loves the franchise, whether that's Halloween 5, whether that's the original Halloween. If you said to me, I don't really like the original Halloween, I think it's kind of boring. I respect it for what it did, but I think it's kind of boring. But I really love the Thorn trilogy. I love that he was it was a cult. And I love part 6. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite Halloween movies. I love part 5. I thought Don Shanks was one of my favorite Michael Myers. If you said that, you're a true Halloween fan. You are a true Halloween fan. You're a different Halloween fan than me, but you're still a Halloween fan. So if anybody ever says that to you, tell them to go fuck themselves, because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're just insecure little bitches. They're just insecure. Relax. You think Avatar being lambasted in pop culture makes me go, no, I'm an Avatar fan. It's art. That's what happens when you release art to the world. Some people like it, some people. Now, the only thing that I don't like is when people jump on is they can't think for themselves, right? That's also a problem, is when people can't form their own opinions and can't think for themselves, and they glom on to, well, this movie's popular to hate and I don't want to feel left out, so I will just jump on and be like, yeah, I hate it too, yeah, when really deep down they kind of actually like it, but they feel embarrassed. That's something else too that is a problem in the fandom, is people don't feel like they can be their true fandom or their true fan selves because they don't want to be made fun of. And I want you to know that nobody, and my moderators have the permission to kick the fuck out anybody on this channel who, in a serious way, I don't mean in a poke fun way like Brandon did, with me, and Avatar. I don't mean that. I mean like in a serious way, makes fun of people for liking what they like. That's not welcome here. That's not acceptable here. Just as long as people can tolerate me making fun of, something you may really love, you can make fun of something that I really love, like Avatar, right? So, it's all in good fun. It's all in fun. It's not to be taken seriously. The second somebody raises it to that serious level and makes it not fun for everybody, you're not welcome here. I don't have time for that shit. Okay. So yeah, no, totally. Totally. All right. Well, listen, that is going to do it for me here on this chat. I thought I would jump on and talk a little bit about the teaser, which we did. I want to thank everybody again who watched the teaser, who tuned in. Please continue to share it. Please continue to talk about it. We need all eyeballs on it. We've put a lot of hard work into this, and we need as many. We don't have Freddie, Jason, or Michael, that name, to help us care. I mean, those things, do well in their sleep. We need all the help we can get. So please talk about it and share it. It's Christmas time. This is the time of year to do it. I'm going to be talking about it on social media a lot, obviously. But I really appreciate the love and the support that you guys have put forward. It means a lot. And, it makes it all worth it because we don't get paid. So we don't have a big fat check that comes in the mail from the studio that is like, oh, that made it all worth it. No, we don't have that. It's you guys supporting and sharing and being excited that makes it all worth it, for at least Bruce and I. I mean, again, we're the only ones that didn't get paid. So it means a lot to us. So we really appreciate it. And obviously, over the next couple of weeks, we'll be posting about it. And I do want to get Bruce on the channel soon. I also want to get Victoria on. But I don't know when that'll be. Obviously, the holidays are a busy time, and then with their families and all that kind of stuff. So, but again, thank you everybody for tuning in today. Thank you to all the super chats that came in and those member chats as well. Appreciate that. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you to Cody for, gifting 5 memberships. Really appreciate that. Oh, hang on. Chester Franklin Jr. says, I missed a sweet tea super chat. I can't miss a sweet tea super chat. There it is. Sweet Tea sends in $5. The tea is sweet tonight. There we go. Love the teaser trailer, my friend. Be safe too. Thank you, Sweet Tea. Really appreciate that. I'm glad that you did. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me see. So again, thank you for sharing. We're very excited to have the teaser out there now and to show you what we were cooking and what you can expect from chapter 2. So watch it again, share it. It's Christmas time. Like I said, I mean, if it was July, I could see everybody being like, well, it's July. It's Christmas time. It's December 20th. This is the time we need It's Me, Billy chapter 2 teaser to explode. I mean, it's not going to explode like, a million views or anything, but if we can get this up to 10,000 views or something like that before the end of the holidays, that would be really cool. That's probably a stretch, but who knows, right? Maybe it will. Really appreciate it. Again, thank you to my moderators for doing what you guys do. Really appreciate that as well. And I will be back soon. I might be back before Christmas. We'll see. But I appreciate you guys very much. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. And I will talk to you all soon. Alrighty. Cheers.